Okay. So here's what's going on. My computer was full, my phone was full, and so I've got a choppy, weird video coming up. So stay tuned for updates and off-grid living. But anyway, I was going to try to do this on my computer, and it says the disk space is full, so it won't let me record. So I've got to transfer some files over to my external hard drive, and that's going to take a long process. And I wanted to give you an early morning Shabbat Shalom update. Bob came home last night. His, what would you call it? He's healing, and we could do battle with what it was and how it happened, but Elohim, he took care of him in multiple ways, and you know that. So, an update on Dee, I have heard from her, and in case you didn't get it in the description, I think, well, not the description, but some of the comments, and I have talked to her, and she will be coming home on Monday. She was going to try to make it till Thursday, and the medical people won't cooperate. So she's got to come home on Monday and then go back on Thursday, because, you know, that makes more sense to them to do, because she's getting medical transportation. Wow. Anyway, so there's that, and I've got company coming tomorrow. I'm very excited, and the weather appears to be doing well. And so that'll be nice. We'll be able to sit out if they get here early in the morning. We'll sit out for a little while, and then we can go down to the library, and without all the flies and the bugs and the bees and the dragonflies. Who knew dragonflies were in the desert? They're everywhere. Amazing. And of course they don't bother me. And even the bees haven't bothered me right now. I think I said this in another video. They're on the swamp cooler. They're just here for the water. And the sun was not out a while ago, so it's a little bright out here, so that's why I'm all squinty-eyed. Speaking of which, big storm came through last night, and so with rain, actually there was sand and wind, which I had to wake up and close my window because my bed was full of sand. And then there was rain. So it was kind of that raining mud thing for a while. And it must have been a pretty big wind. It knocked some stuff over, but, you know, I secured after that big storm, and you know, my chairs get knocked over and that kind of stuff, but nothing really terrible. Of course, Buddy doesn't sleep well, and which means I don't get to sleep well either. It's like having a baby. The Thunder Vest does help, but it does not, it doesn't cure it. So I have heard from my friend that just keep going, and eventually it will make the biggest difference. So, and bring him comfort. So the thing is that he doesn't know the difference between there's a storm and there are jets flying over, which tend to do the same kind of thing. So, before I get too long-winded here, those are the updates. And I wanted to, someone asked me, they said they would be interested in a little more about living off-grid and the challenges. And in doing this, living off-grid, you have to have, well, if you're going to have electronics, if you're going to have light, and for me, if you're going to be able to stay relatively, cool and keep yourself from dying, because even with the swamp cooler if it's over 100 degrees, I can only get it down to about 95 in the trailer with, and that's about 50 to 60% humidity. Right now, the humidity's up. Now, the advantage is, and here's the juggling act. Okay, so you've got solar panels. As long as you got solar coming in, you got power. Now, if it's really hot and dry, the swamp cooler works awesome. So once monsoons are over, I probably I won't need it. But anyway, I still got a big fan, and it does help circulate the air. So I'll need it to a certain degree. I just won't need I don't know what I'll need because I've not done this before. This is my first time. So, and just so you know, this isn't I've been living this way for 4 years. After the divorce, I kind of lost my mind, and I was not wise about, I just wasn't thinking about the future. I didn't anticipate having a future. I thought things were, everything. It wasn't just the divorce. The divorce was final, and then all 3 of my daughters got married. So instead of holding on to what little I did have, and it was little, I spent it on wedding dresses and stuff. My bad. But, you only get to do that once. And I got to do it 3 times in a year. And so there went all the extra money. And I wound up in Hawaii and didn't really have a car, didn't have a home, had divvied up most of my household goods. And over a process of, it's been the last decade. So it's been 10 years now. And it took a whole lot of effort to have so little in my life. And I had to work hard towards that. So living off grid was something I first learned in Hawaii because that's how we lived over there. Most of the people did. And it's where I got a lot of education on batteries, solar panels, and managing them. Where you go into the kitchen and flip on the light so you can cook dinner and just turn on the stove. I had to think about that. And how much did I have enough battery? And was there enough propane to run there wasn't enough power to actually run an oven because the oven required electricity for the heater, for the thermostat. So you couldn't really bake anything. So I cooked on a little 2-burner grill over there. And now I've got an oven that does not require electricity. It's propane. And it's fabulous. So in the wintertime, which speaking of wintertime, something's happening on the phone. Okay. So apparently my phone is full too. A little easier to manage. I just deleted the files. So anyway, I lived in the mountains of Virginia for a year. And I used to say, it takes a real woman to live in the mountains of Virginia in the winter. And it was very hard and very harsh. And I was kind of in the same situation. I was off grid. And it turns out you actually have to have sun in order to have solar power. And I didn't have enough sun there. And so every day I ran a generator to charge my batteries so that I could charge my phone and have lights at night. Now, I didn't know a lot about it then, like I do. I know much more now about keeping my batteries. And there was just a lot of things that went wrong. And there was nobody to talk to. I couldn't get the information I needed. And it was and it's very confusing. So the basics are, right now, this is what I need in order to have a swamp cooler so I don't die, and to have refrigeration so I can have mostly ice water and yogurt. That's what I keep in there. So I have 3 100-watt panels that are hooked together that charge 2 deep cell gel solar batteries. Now, you can't just run a solar panel to your batteries because I guess you could blow them up. I don't know. You have to have a controller, a charge controller that tells the batteries or it reads the batteries. You've only got this much power, so when the sun comes out, I'm going to put in this much power. And we're going to charge your batteries to a certain full, and then it's called floating. And once they float, it's like it kind of keeps it charged if you're using it until the sun goes down. And then when the sun goes down, you've got a point reading. It's called a voltmeter. And most of the time on a good day, I've got, when I turn off the sun. When the sun goes down, I'm at 12.8 on a good day. Now, the advantage of cooler temperatures, I don't have to run the swamp cooler so much. But the disadvantage is it's a cloudy day, so your batteries don't charge as well. Now, I have really good solar panels that even on a cloudy day, they're charging. They just don't charge as much. And the charge controller is what monitors all that. Now, that is to run the swamp cooler, my lights, and charge my phones. And on the other set that I have, I'm going to have 2 solar panels, 200-watt solar panels. I've got 2 deep cell Walmart batteries that are acid. So that does a whole different thing. I have been using my old charge controller that I had in Virginia, and it never allows the batteries to float. They get up to full charge, and then you run them back down, and then it brings them back up, and it's a bad solar charger. And there's different solar chargers. I didn't know that. And when I got this one, the person who was helping me said, sure, that'll be fine. Well, turns out that's probably what killed my batteries in Virginia and why I had to run a swamp cooler every day. In whether it was raining, snow, it was hard. That was way hard. Now, being in the desert has been hard too, but you understand that living in the mountains of Virginia, in the woods, near the creek, I also had insects and snakes and animals in the woods. The threat was actually, there were bears. There were bears I had to look out for. But I had a big dog back then, and she would alert me to anything coming near me. And so I never had to deal with bears. And truthfully, I never had to deal with snakes. And I won't tell you what I do I mark my territory. That's what I do. And that helps with other little animals. And there, with the insects, I took cedar chips and I spread them all under the trailer and about a foot to 2 feet out around it so that it helped repel bugs. I don't do well with pesticides. I try to use natural stuff as much as possible. And there are many essential oils that you can use. And I know people have asked me about that too. I'll do a separate video on the essential oils I use to stay alive in the desert, which also work if you're alive in the woods in the mountains of Virginia. However, here, my trailer, using the swamp cooler, averages about 95 degrees. And I might have already said that, but I'm going to edit some of this stuff. So about 95 degrees is what I'm looking at, and which means late in the afternoon it gets uncomfortable, like between 4 and 7. And so I generally, if it's a really hot day, and we've had it, I think we've seen our temperatures up about 120. They never say that on the weather reports, but it has been that hot here. And if I keep my shirt wet, if it's not humid, that works and helps keep you cool. If the humidity is 70%, you just blow a fan on you because you're going to sweat. And so there's that. And let's see. Yeah, I think that's what it is like with the solar panels. So today I am making preparation for Shabbat. And so I will do my laundry, which I have a dishpan. I do the laundry first, and I generally have maybe, 4 to 6 items, and I wash those out by hand. This is living off grid. Yes, there's a laundromat. Yes, I could wait and go to the laundromat once a week, but this way well, there's not a laundromat. It's not open in the campground. I'll do that in the winter. But otherwise, I'd have to go to Ajo, which is not a bad thing, but I can wash these few things. They're lightweight. It's not like I'm washing jeans. And so I just wash them out by hand. I've got clothesline here. And then after I've got the dishpan all clean from washing the laundry, I'll go back in and fill it up with whatever little dishes I've used and haven't washed along the way. And I will wash those. And when I say the snake pit, this is where the snake was, is where I do my laundry and wash my dishes. And occasionally we'll wash my hair. So anyway, y'all, that is a little bit, that's the update and a little bit of what it's like to live off grid in Coyote House in Hwy, Arizona. Shabbat Shalom. I love y'all.